Hello, Brave Nation, and welcome into episode 36 of BraveHawk Talk on the UNCP Sports Network. As always, BraveHawk Talk is presented by Pepsi. Pepsi, that's what I like. I'm John Gross, and if you're in town looking for a bite to eat, make sure to hit up the Wing Company of Pembroke. And we are so excited to announce that Wing Wednesdays are back. That means that if the Braves scored 5 runs or more, you win. 5 wings for just $5 does not include tax, but make sure to follow along to see if the Braves can score 5 or more runs every Wednesday for an opportunity to get a great meal for a great low price at the Wing Company of Pembroke. Today's show is a bit of a historic show. For the first time ever, we have actually 3 guests, a pair of wrestlers, and then UNCP assistant men's and women's basketball coach Donald Bohannon. But we'll start with these 2 wrestlers of a UNCP wrestling squad looking to repeat as Super Region champions. With that tournament just weeks away, I was excited to be joined today by Luke McDonough, a senior, and Jovaun Johnson, a redshirt junior, to talk about what this season has been like and their hopes for the future. So let's meet our Scotland Health Student Athletes of the Week. Wrestling's Luke McDonough and Jovaun Johnson. All right, well, I want to preface this interview by saying that we are making history today, guys. This is the first time in the history of BraveHawk Talk that we are having a group interview. So I'm excited to be joined by both of you today. Luke and Jovaun, thanks so much for joining me.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, I appreciate you guys.
So this has of course been an interesting season, and Thursday night wrapped up the regular season slate for the wrestling team, finishing 7-0 in dual meets. Runner-up in the conference tournament, and now we look forward to the Super Regionals coming up at Emmanuel College. But just to recap this season, Jovaun, we can start with you. What was this season like for you?
This season, it was interesting. Just the dynamics of everything going into the season with the clear mindset, even though we know the schedule was going to be condensed and know what we were up against. But, you know, we still kept the ball rolling. Coaches still stayed in our corner. Trainer, Lauren, the trainer, he did an excellent job just keeping us on course. And with a bunch of good guys, good group of guys sticking together, rolling with the punches, we were able to go undefeated this season. And we're looking forward to taking the crown at regionals.
Luke, how about for yourself?
Well, like Jovaun said, like we all knew what to expect. Like it's going to be a different season. It's going to be shorter, and we don't know if who would be able to wrestle, when, or whatever. But all we knew is to train. But you know, on top of that, like all of us had our own side stuff too. So it was kind of tough season, you know, trying to stay focused. But like John said, like we had a good staff, we have good teammates. You know, kept us all on track, kept us focused, kept us like, you know, blind us from the bad stuff going on, and kept us straight in the training, and that showed on the mat yesterday.
I think one of the most impressive aspects of just observing you guys as student athletes and student athletes as a whole is, you know, I went through college as just a normal student. I understand the dynamics of the social life, the academic side, you have the family and the personal aspect of things. To be a student athlete this year, you guys had to make some serious sacrifices. What was that like, and what type of buy-in was required to be able to kind of overcome those sacrifices?
Well, I guess I'll go first. It was kind of like, especially in the beginning of the year, beginning the first semester, we didn't know what was going to happen, and we ended up going home at one point. My last year. So it kind of caught us off guard, and a lot of us weren't, you know, prepared enough as we usually would be, like just talking from a school aspect, not sports. And we all had to find our own little thing, you know, to stay focused and try to do the best we could, because, you know, online classes that are supposed to be in class it's kind of hard, difficult to retain information. But you had to, you know, find a way to get that A, find a way to get what you need to get. It was just, I guess, individual. It was all on that person rather than people.
Okay. Well, from my point of view, it was tough going through like the first semester, like Luke said, being a student athlete, rolling with the changes and things like that. But the biggest thing as a student athlete, only just not as a student athlete, but also as a student, is just adaptation and learning to adjust to your setting. That's the biggest way I could say, and we did that. I think the campus did that as well, just as far as being a regular student. So I think everybody did a good job just adapting to the changes and being a student athlete. As far as like the wrestling, all the students athletes, basketball, football, everybody, just as a whole, softball, everybody adapted to the changes now. For some, the teams are all competing. Well, some teams are competing, and they're looking forward to having a successful season as well.
You know, anytime I speak with anyone involved with the wrestling program, one of the first terms that comes up is culture. It's something that's been built and cultivated over the years, and of course, Coach O.T. Johnson and his coaching staff have done a tremendous job of continuing to build upon this culture. From your guys' perspective, what is the culture of this UNCP wrestling program? And Jovaun, we can start with you.
This culture is tough. The culture is built around toughness. I think this team, from the teams I've been on, this is one of the toughest teams I've been on, and setting the standard. The young guys coming in, being as tough as the older guys, learning to adjust to the toughness in the room. It's just like we say, it's very tough, and it's very tough for a reason. No matter where we go, hostile territory, we're going hands up high, chin up, and we're going there and scrap. That's the biggest thing I can say about this culture and this team. We don't back down to anybody. So knowing that we can come over and compete with the best of the best, that sets the tone for this culture. And it's going to be the standard going forward after us, after the next set of guys and going forward. So the culture is going to be set in stone for a while.
Luke?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Jovaun on that, because like our motto is brave, tough, and and our OT always talks about like you don't have to be the best, but if you're the toughest, he will respect you for that, because you can't trust that somebody doesn't give it all. Somebody's not tough enough. Somebody's not giving 100%. It all matters, because if you're brave, tough, if you're tough enough, then you go to the end every time, go to 100%. That's all that really matters.
I want to go back a bit to your recruitment process and your journeys to UNCP. I know both of you took kind of different paths to get here. Luke, we'll start with you. And at Thursday night's press conference, Coach O.T. talked a little bit about his recruitment process of bringing you down to UNCP. So how did you make your way from Delaware to Pembroke, North Carolina?
Well, so I got I wasn't really sure at one point if I wanted to, go wrestle in college. But towards the end of my junior year, I was actually injured in high school, but I still, maybe I could actually wrestle at the next level. And so I knew I didn't want to be anywhere up north, but we looked down south, and I got a couple looks from different areas. I was really interested in a bunch of schools, including here at UNCP. But when I visited the team, I did my overnight and all that, I was connected a lot stronger with this team than I wasn't on any other team, honestly. Because, I already like Tyler McCosey, our head coach right now, I've known him and his family since I was a kid. And having that person in my college career made it a lot cooler, honestly, knowing somebody up lifts up by me. But I just made the decision because, OT, I trusted him like he was going to get me to where I needed to go. So more than any other coaches I was around. But yeah, I just honestly with the team, just being around the guys and the way they took me in, the way they acted around me, they acted like me I was somebody new. They treated me like I was one of them. So I think that was the biggest thing that got me hooked here at UNCP.
Jovaun, I know that you had to stop off at Greensboro before coming to Pembroke, but how did you make your way to UNCP?
A funny story is that before I came to UNCP, I actually wrestled in the Pembroke Open, and I did really well. But I was also uncommitted and undecided where I wanted to go. So I decided to go to Greensboro College because that's what the coaches there were recruiting me first. And, I just wanted to wrestle in college, so I was like, yeah, I'll go. So I go there first semester, then, things happen, so I hit the transfer portal. And my high school coaches are UNCP wrestling alumni and things like that. So they told me, like, man, we'd like to see you in black and gold. So, I talked to Coach OT, and he said he remembered who I was, and he was like, man, we'd love to have you on board, and the rest is history. And, they told me the same thing. They believe in my offense, such as Blue. They believe in our offense, and they know they can get us to the next level, and they just told us to buy in. I think since we're buying in, it's pushing us to the next level in those tough matches and things like that. So, I mean, the rest is history, and I'm glad I came aboard being a UNCP Brave.
And Jovaun, you brought up something interesting. You said that your high school coaches wrestled at UNCP, and that's something that I've noticed. There is such a tremendous amount of pride in this program amongst alums, amongst fans, amongst just the university community in general. What do you think what does that say about this program when you see all these people out there who just care so much about UNCP wrestling?
What is it not to say? The fan base is awesome. But I'm just saying, like, it just shows the tradition of we're not just a wrestling team, we're a family-orientated team. The lineage goes deep. The ties are deep within this wrestling program, and it's just filled with pride. When we put on that singlet, it's just not we're wrestling for us, we're wrestling for our coaches, our teammates, the alumni, the people that put that singlet on before us. So just going there wrestling tough is not only like win or lose, just wrestling tough, just giving it all you got. That's all they can ask for as they trust in us to put that singlet on and just wrestle as hard as we can, because when they did the same thing, they did that also, wrestle as hard as they can. So just doing that just give us the support we need and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, if we could have fans, that gym would be packed and noise, rowdy, and the gym would go crazy. So, so we just embrace it. So that's what we love, and we just like to put on a show for our fans.
I have to say, even though there were no fans on Thursday night, the bench did a great job bringing the energy. That was fun to watch everyone on the sideline.
Yes, they did. Always bring that same energy.
Yes, and it made it a great environment despite not having any fans. So as we look ahead to what's next for you two, I know, Luke, Thursday night was your senior night. The NCAA did offer an extra year of eligibility, but you will be moving on from UNCP. What went into that decision, and what do you have planned for the future?
Well, honestly, it's just sometimes it's just that time, and I think it's just time for me to take that turn and start, building a career. Because I've wrestled long enough. Honestly, I've wrestled my whole entire life, and it's always gonna be a part of me because I plan on being a coach in the future as well. But it's just that time. I made a decision at some point last year, but I'm always going to be a fan of the sport. I'm going to be an assistant coach too, but I'm going to pursue athletic training. I need to look at some schools, but for right now, I'm going to go and work as a trainer, a sports trainer at my local gym. Get some money coming in, while doing something that I've been learning about in school that will actually help me for my career, and I'll also be coaching at a high school as well. But as the years go on, as the year, because I only plan to do it for a semester a year, I want to apply somewhere for athletic training and get that degree and hopefully at some point get into a university and be an athletic trainer there.
That's amazing. Good luck with that. We know you're going to be very successful with as an athletic trainer and of course, as a wrestling coach as well. And Jovaun, I know you still have some more time here at UNCP, but do you have your sights set on any careers beyond your time at UNCP?
Just being my lifelong goal is to be a veterinarian for the Army. But as far as I'm at UNCP, my biggest goal was getting my degree further and foremost. But just enjoying the process, just taking it, just embracing everything, just show love to everything. You don't get these times back. Chasing team titles, getting rings, skull dragging people. So you don't get this time back. So why not embrace it? So I'm appreciative. I got a little something left in the tank, so I'll be back and try to put on a show for the fans and things like that. So we'll see what the future holds.
And we're excited to see you back in the black and gold for next wrestling season, and of course to follow both of you as this season progresses. I want to end with a fun question for you guys, and feel free to do your best OT impression when you do this. Is there like an OT-ism, like an OT line that stands out to each of you? Something that he says?
Go kick rocks.
Yeah, go kick rocks, or every time I wrestle, I do look over. He put his head in his hands a lot, so I guess I like to. His birthday just actually passed, so I'm trying to put a little bit more gray hairs on his beard. So I think that put a little more flavor on him. So yeah. So for the most part, Coach OT is pretty cool. So he just hits us with a lot of jokes. So if we try to do that, we'd be here all day. So.
Which of you can do a better OT impression?
Oh man, okay. I don't know. I don't think I got one. I can't. I'm trying to think of one right now.
Go kick rocks.
Yeah, that's about it. That's all I can really say. Go kick rocks. So I guess when he says that, you got to get out of here. So.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much for your time today. Thanks for everything you're doing for the program, and we look forward to an exciting Super Regions and the NCAA tournament beyond that.
Yep. Hopefully we'll punch our ticket.
Oh yeah. I appreciate that. Brave Tough. You guys have a great weekend.
Thanks again to Jovaun and Luke for hopping on today's podcast, and we look forward to their success the rest of this season. Listen, everyone wants those pearly white teeth, that perfect smile, the healthy teeth. Well, if you're in the area, you are in luck. Two great choices for all of your dentistry and cosmetic needs. Collins & Associates Innovative Smiles of Red Springs and Collins & Sampson Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, the official dentistry providers of UNCP Athletics. Up next, we're joined by a coach in a very unique position, coaching multiple teams in the midst of a pandemic. It's Donald Bohannon in his 5th year as a member of the UNCP Athletic Department. Listen in to hear his fascinating story and what this year has been like for him. Donald Bohannon, assistant coach of the UNCP men's and women's basketball team. Welcome to BraveHawk Talk, and thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate you letting me do a little talking.
Yeah, no problem. Love to have you on the show today. You are in a very unique position, working with both basketball programs here, and of course, you add on to that the pandemic and the difficulties and challenges that have come with that as well. What has this year been like for you?
As it's worn on, it hasn't. I don't think it's gotten worse or better. I think I've kind of been, since basically November, I've kind of been in like the same state of mind. And it's just taking it day by day. And that's what you have to do at this point, because, we've had multiple times where we'll practice, and even on the day of the game, it gets pulled out from under us. So, you prepare like you would any other year. You just prepare. And then if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's nothing you can do about it. So I think early on I got frustrated, but probably by December I was like, well, this is how it's going to be. I guess I just got to roll with it. And it actually made my life a little bit easier doing that.
Was there a change in the way that you and the other coaches went about maybe scheduling practices or what you would go over in practice, just due to some of these unforeseen circumstances?
I think we approached everything pretty much the same. I would say we probably we had more practices where it's more about the mind, paying attention and being focused than physicality. I mean, we would have, at the guys' practice, we would have one day where it's a super physical practice, and then the next day, Coach Richards would even say it the day before, but hey, today was really physical. Tomorrow it's going to be more mental. And we've done the same thing with the girls, where we'll have one really tough practice. Then maybe the day before the game, it's more of a walkthrough. We're not trying to beat them up. We're in there an hour 10, but it's focus, as opposed to just running up and down the floor.
That's an interesting point that you bring up, the mental side of things. And outside of basketball, I know that mental health and well-being is paramount for student athletes. It's been very difficult on all college students, but especially student athletes, to be a college student, be a student athlete during this pandemic. So do you, and I know normally coaches kind of view themselves as an extension of a student athlete's family and really there to support them on campus. Have you put more of an emphasis this year on that side of things as well?
I would say yes, just because I've been, when we get in the gym and I'm shooting around, like working out one of the guys or one of the girls, whichever it may be, I'll flat out ask them, hey, how are you doing okay? Like, are you, and sometimes they've said, like, no, I'm kind of struggling with, having to practice all the time and not getting to play games, or at least early on, that's what the problem was. And, we have good services on campus for that, which I obviously push them towards that first. But if they just want to sit there and talk and vent about it, then I just stand there. We stop doing whatever we're doing the workout. I stand there and hold the ball, and I let them get it out. Because I think that does, at least for me personally, like being able to vent and just talk about what's bothering you, it helps me. So, like, I just stand there and listen. I don't even say anything to them. And then, I'll ask them, like, is this a problem you want fixed, or do you just need to get that out? And sometimes they're like, oh, like, I feel a lot better just talking. And then, we kind of fix the problem, because I can't personally imagine, like, I know how it's been for me, but I can't imagine thinking, oh, yeah, I'm going to get to play today, and then all of a sudden I don't get to play. I can't imagine dealing with that on a regular basis.
Right, and we've seen that quite a bit this year, and even a lot of situations may have been false positives too. So it's not that anyone did anything wrong, no COVID at all, but it's just the nature of the situation. So it's definitely been tough. I want to talk a little bit about the fact that you coach two different teams. What's that like? Because while, yes, you're playing under one roof, you're playing in the same gym, I'd imagine that it's two completely different roles.
It is. So I am an assistant with both teams, but obviously, we have more people on the men's staff. So my role with them is more, kind of operational. Like, I'm like, hey, let's make sure we have buses, make sure we have food. Is the practice jerseys, are they clean? Are the game jerseys, like, just kind of the more, what's it called? I guess the back end. Like, you're not going to see it. You're just going to know, like, it got done kind of thing. And so I do help out at practice too. Like, I'm in drills. I do a lot of statting for them at practice. And then for the girls, I take on, I feel like I take on more of the coaching role, where I get to, me and Coach Eaton, we alternate scouts. So, like, she has, we're getting ready to play Aiken tomorrow, so she has Aiken. And then hopefully on Monday we get to play Francis Marion. So that Francis Marion is my team. And then Wednesday we'll hopefully turn around and play Francis Marion again. So I get kind of back-to-back scouts. I don't have to change too much. Just, we just played them. And then the next one will be her. So we alternate scouts to start with, and then when we turn around and play the team again, we just do that scout again. So I get to do more of the coaching, so I get to see both sides of it. Like, I've been my second year doing both sides, and I just think it's going to make me better in the long run. Like, some people, like, I have friends that ask me, like, how do you do both? And I'm like, I go to work and just do the best I can. And in the long run, it's going to help me in whatever job I choose to be, whether I stay an assistant or whether I become a head coach one day.
So I know that you grew up playing a bunch of different sports. You played baseball in college for a bit as well, but now you're pursuing a career coaching basketball. Why basketball and why coaching?
I've always heard the saying, if you can't play, you coach. And I always kind of laugh at that, because some players are really good coaches. Good players are good coaches too. But for me, I was, I'm 5'10", like, I I can't shoot the ball that well. No one wants that guy in college for basketball. So while I did enjoy baseball, it was kind of I played it since I was 3 years old, basically. I mean, starting in T-ball, I played competitively up until 22, so basically 20 years of my life. But I always loved basketball. When I was an undergrad, I built my class schedule around playing pickup. So, I knew when the gym was going to be packed, and I was like, all right, I can't take classes between, 12 and 2 or 4 and 6. I have to be able to be in the gym in those times. And so I just liked playing it more. I like the fast-pacedness of basketball. I love it's – I would say it's a stressful environment, but it's not for me. I feel like I kind of fit into the environment pretty well. And that, not to say anything negative about baseball, because I still love watching baseball. I'm thrilled our team is playing now. I got to walk over there, watch a little bit of the game the other day, and it was kind of there's nothing like the pop of the glove. But basketball is just, I can't imagine myself doing anything else.
It's funny that you mentioned earlier the saying, if you can't play, you coach. I've always heard, at least from my side of things, if you can't play, you broadcast. So
hey, you do a good job of that. So you can ball though. You can ball. I've seen you ball.
Well, listen. See, we are former teammates of the
Exactly.
UNCP athletic staff IM basketball team, and you mentioned that you like pickup basketball. I'll toot your horn here a little bit. You are the ultimate pickup basketball player, because every pickup basketball team needs that guy who is going to outrun everyone, out-hustle everyone, get all those loose balls, run up and down the court, blow by everyone on fast breaks, get a bunch of steals and rebounds, be physical, and hit some threes. That's Donald Bohannon.
Yeah, that's what I do, man. I do the dirty stuff because it doesn't show up in the stat sheet, but it looks cool on film. So,
Absolutely. So you make that choice to get into coaching, and then how do you find your way to UNCP?
So it's funny. I was coaching JV girls back home in Wilmington, and I had I'll be honest with you, I didn't really have a whole lot of direction in life. I was like, I don't even know what I'm doing. I basically substitute teaching, working another part-time job, and then I started taking classes at Cape Fear Community College again, because I was like, well, I don't know what I want to do. Maybe I'll look into nuclear technology and being a worker with nuclear stuff. So I started doing that. And after that, about 2 months of that, I was bored out of my mind. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll just go to grad school. And so UNCP popped up on online when I was looking at grad schools that had sports management degrees and all that good stuff. So I was like, man, I could just be a grad assistant. So I sent out a bunch of emails to a bunch of schools, emailing about being a grad assistant. I actually didn't send the email to UNCP. I just applied. And in the time I started sending emails before I got accepted here, I only heard back from one school, and I probably sent 100, 150 emails. I only heard back from one, and they were basically just telling me they didn't have any openings. So I applied to UNCP, and I was like, well, worst case scenario, I just get my master's. Well, when I came up here to meet, my advisor was Dr. Fiorentino, and she said, why are you getting this degree? Why are you here? And I told her, and she said, oh, well, Coach Haskins is in his office. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what she meant by that. So she walked me down to the basketball office. And the only polo shirt I owned at that time was a Laney basketball shirt where I was coaching at the time. And she took me down to Coach Haskins. I talked to him for a good, 15, 20 minutes before I went back to her to finish my advising. But when I came back to talk to him some more, we sat in there for an hour and just talked. And when I got ready to leave, he was like, oh, you work at Lane? I was like, yeah, I worked with Coach Tynes. And he was like, oh, I know her really well. I'll give her a call. So he called Coach Tynes, and apparently she said nothing but good things about me, because about halfway home, back to Wilmington, I got a text from Coach Haskins saying, hey, we'd love to have you help out our program. I'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll talk. And I'm on finishing up year 5. So.
And I know you've had a couple different roles in your 5 years at UNCP, especially in the women's program. So how were you able to work your way up from that day one interaction with Coach Haskins to your current position?
So that's a lot. I'd say the one thing was I've always thought I had a decent work ethic, and I thought I knew what college coaching was when I got here, and I wasn't even close. I was so far off it's not even funny. But when Coach Eaton got here, she looked at me one day and said, like the first day I ever met her, she goes, "What do you want to get out of this?" I was like, "Well, I want to be in Coach Haskins' spot one day. I'd like to be a head coach." And she's like, "Okay, cool." And she handed me a spreadsheet and said, "We need hotels for these games, for our away games." I said, "Okay, well, how do I do that?" And she looked at me dead in my eye and said, "Figure it out." I was like, I thought she was kind of joking. So I was like, "Okay, well, where do I start?" She looked at me again and said, "Figure it out." And I was like, all right. So I'd say between that and like my work ethic has just gotten better. I just show up every day and do whatever makes Coach Eaton and Coach Jones, whatever makes their lives easier. I do whatever they need, and then I'll go to Coach Richards or Coach Haskins and be like, "Hey, what do y'all need?" And it kind of just figuring out, I guess, what is going to help the team basically get to the point they want to be. So what's going to make us the winningest possible team, and that's my goal. It's I'd like to be a head coach, but right now I'm completely content just being the guy that makes sure everybody's prepared and ready to go.
And for the immediate future, you are still in the midst of a basketball season with the UNCP women's team, a big game coming up, at the time of this recording this weekend, and still a handful of games left for the rest of the season. So what are you looking forward to for these final few weeks of the 2020-2021 campaign?
I think the girls have struggled off the bat a little bit, but we're very young, and I'm really looking forward to today's practice was super energetic, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Is can we have the same energy across the board? It's really cool when we're on a 12-0 run, everybody's super hyped up, but can we have that same energy when the other team's on a 12-0 run? Because that's what basketball is. It's just a game of runs, and you just got to stop the other team from having runs. So you can't automatically, shut down and, not be energetic. So I'm looking forward to that energy just continuing for the next couple of weeks, because we only got, even if we only play 2 more games, we still got 2 weeks of the season left. So I'd really like to see them continue that energy and just working hard and getting better, because there's a lot of potential with our team if they will just work hard, and I think they're getting to that point, although be it a little late. I think we'll see the fruits of that labor next season.
A bright future for this UNCP women's basketball program, and we'll end with this one. All right, get your thinking cap on. Which athlete would be most successful in a sport that is not their own? And your answer cannot include somebody who professionally has played multiple different sports. So it can't be a Bo Jackson.
Okay. So it could be anybody, any athlete?
We'll keep it to current professional athletes. Current athletes.
Current professional athletes. Everyone talks about LeBron and playing football because of how big he is. He'd probably be a pretty decent, tight end. He's a big dude. But I kind of like to look at ones that might not get looked at.
Okay.
And so I'm going to kind of go off outside the box here. So how in baseball they have that guy on the bench who he doesn't do a whole lot except hit leadoff occasionally, or he gets put in to run. That's what his job is to get steals. You need to get a runner in scoring position. His job is to get a steal. I feel like Steph Curry might be good at that. If he had played baseball, he did play baseball growing up, but if he had kept playing and was a decent hitter, I feel like he'd be a great leadoff guy or a steal specialist.
Okay.
He's quick.
See, when I heard you say steals, and leadoff batter, I thought you were going to go the Tyreek Hill route.
Oh, Tyreek Hill would be great too. That's true. I was just thinking strictly basketball, but yeah, Tyreek Hill would be actually probably even that'd be better. He'd be perfect. That role would be. You don't even need him to hit. Honestly, he could just go straight to baseball right now. He doesn't even need to be able to hit. Like, hey, you're going to pay you a few $1 million a year just to get steals when we need it. Because there's very few catchers in the league right now that are. If he gets a good jump, you're not. Maybe Yadier Molina like back in the day, but. Nobody I can think of now is getting him. No one's getting him down. He's too fast.
Well, I don't think you can go wrong either way, whether it's Steph Curry or Tyreek Hill. Both would be pretty good in the base pass. But, Donald, thank you so much for your time today, and best of luck the rest of the season.
No problem, man. I appreciate you having me.
That'll do it for episode 36 of BraveHawk Talk, presented by Pepsi. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at UNCP_sports. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and even on TikTok. To stay up to date on all things UNCP athletics, also visit our website, uncpbraves.com. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week, and remember to mask up.